Hi, my name is Sarah Darro, and I am the Chief Curator and Director of Exhibitions at Houston Center for Contemporary Craft. I am an exhibition maker, which is a very holistic way of approaching curatorial work. I'm involved in everything from installing the artwork to working with artists to develop site-specific projects, and I'm also a writer and visual anthropologist. Jurying the Hawaiʻi Craftsmen 2025 exhibition was an incredible, profoundly special experience. I had never visited Hawaii before, and being able to be stewarded across these very distinct, singular landscapes by artists and kind of cultural advocates in each of the 5 islands that I visited was such a tremendous honor. It was so enlightening to see the ways in which all of these cultural lineages have kind of coalesced and merged and developed something so special in this place, which is the most remote archipelago in the world. I was blown away by the mastery of craftsmanship and material. People making their own tools to be able to craft some of these works, sourcing materials from site, using every bit of the materials. There was this real attention to kind of being a responsible steward of the land, reflecting the really dynamic, evolving dialogue that's happening on the islands. Well, something that was surprising to me about visiting Hawaii was the distinct visual landscapes, resources, materials available on each island, and the kind of culture of each island and how distinct they were. Each host on every island kind of told me how they viewed the character, the mana of the island, and like the kind of distinct spirit of each place. And I felt like the work really reflected that. It was also, this really incredible blend of referencing long ancestral wisdom and tradition, and also looking forward and thinking about what do we want Hawaii to be, what do we want this country to be, what do we as a people want to be. And I think at this really poignant and intense moment politically and historically, the artists here have been reflecting on it so poetically, so connected to land, and so connected to community. Well, something that was so exciting about the work that I saw was how much it was reflective of site and place, but it was a completely new take. So, I saw these lava rock boulders, but they were all hand hammered out of copper and kind of like pieced together. And then, the beautiful skies here that are filled with, such dramatic theatrical plays of clouds and sun and shadow, seeing that in a sublimation print that's hung from the ceiling. So I think what I would love people to come away with is the awe that me as an outsider came to these islands with, seeing these dramatic, incredible landscapes that are unlike any other place in the world, but through an artist's eyes. So I hope that the show really feels like you are stepping onto Molokai or Hawaii or Oahu for the first time, but all of the elements of the landscape are by artists. Maybe what's singular about the way that I approach curatorial work is that I'm always considering it in an architectonic space and in a display space. When I was moving through the work, I really was thinking about it in a collective space. I was imagining the gallery and what I wanted to see kind of spotlit and grouped together, and the kind of relationships that I started noticing and the through lines that I started pulling out as I saw more and more works. I started to get really excited about thinking about this work that I saw in Kauai next to this piece that I saw on Big Island, and vice versa. Really moving through the jurying of 600 objects, I feel an incredible sense of responsibility to take the pulse and the temperature of what's happening in such an incredible artistic community in this state, and the relationships inter-island and kind of reaching out globally. Something that was so spectacular in this experience was seeing the ways in which kind of ancestral wisdom and ancient and historical uses of materials were kind of remixed and brought into this really contemporary moment. A few of the pieces that really excited me hit clearly incredible technical rigor, skill, and kind of being able to wield this mastery over their material, but they were also hitting this really special content and this voice that felt really singular. It wasn't just recreating kind of patterns or iconography from the past. It was really bringing their own voice and experience to those references. It merged all of the references in a way that felt similar to how Hawaii itself has kind of come to be, this kind of beautiful merging and coalescing of different references and traditions and people kind of coming together and making something new. So after this whirlwind experience of traveling to 5 islands in Hawaii over a little over a week and meeting so many incredible craftspeople and kind of cultural advocates and instigators and people who are innovating and trying new things with technique and material, I'm leaving feeling very inspired, overwhelmed by the incredible rigor of the work that's being done here, and excited to continue to see works that retain the kind of spirit, kind of technical virtuosity, ancestral link to heritage, but that are also colliding that work and those traditions with what their experiences are like every day here in 2025. Seeing the really personal takes on traditional work, those were the ones that stayed with me the most. You know, when it felt like the voice was really authentic to the experience today. It wasn't so tethered to tradition that it was kind of ossified in a traditional lineage, but it was really experimental and flexible, but still really showed how much pride there is in the traditional handicrafts and techniques. Thank you, Hawaii, and all of my amazing jurors and chairs on each island. I can't tell you how thankful I am for this experience, and I can't wait to come back and hopefully do a residency at Volcano National Park.